What's interesting now is that Ukraine has very strict laws about transgendered people. They make them go through arduous programs of gender training and therapy and what have you. And then when you actually do transition, you have the issue of your identity, right? Most Ukrainians seem to be fleeing with the proper paperwork, but now transgendered people are finding themselves in some sort of limbo where maybe their birth certificate, they were able to change their gender, but not on their passport or vice versa. And that's created a holdup. Also, Ukraine is not allowing, according to these reports, which is new to me, that they're making biological males between 18 and 60 stay to fight. And it makes no exception for trans women.
No, so if you're fleeing, and so many of these trans women are fleeing to try to get out of the country and to leave and go, across the border, they're being turned around by the Ukrainian Nazi military members and told, no, you've got to go back and fight. And they're basically saying to them, there's plenty of reports of this, by the way, and you can dig through this if you want. You'll probably be told you can't dig into this on Twitter. You'll probably be blocked for sharing it like I was. But they'll be turned around. So you have these members of the Azov battalion and others who are grabbing them by the throat and checking to see if they have an Adam's apple or not. They're checking to see if they have an Adam's apple. If they have an Adam's apple, you're being sent back. You better go back and fight like a man. Because after all, biologically, you are. So regardless of whether or not you're transgender, you have to go fight, because the Ukrainian military is forcing you to do so.
What if you're a biological woman?
Yeah,
well,
you think?
Yes.
Again, these are the democratic values we're fighting for, right? I mean,
well, because the Azimov Brigade is empowered as leadership during this conflict, right?
And it's not. We should be clear. This Azov battalion, Nazis, is not just one small little niche fringe group. When they were basically disbanded a number of years ago, they were not just disbanded, they were dispersed throughout the entirety of the Ukrainian military. So this is not some like little fringe group, this Azov Nazi battalion. No. It's throughout the entire Ukrainian military. So I know we can't talk about it in the Western media because we have to hold up Ukraine as this, angel on a hill. But it turns out that these Nazis, who are literally telling trans women, transgender, and gay gay men, etc., get back and fight, go back and fight, be a part of this right now. I'm going to check your Adam's apple to make sure if you are, then you're going to have to go back and fight.
Shouldn't the reverse be true if you have decided that you are a biological female to male? Should you be drafted as well? Or are biological female to males allowed to leave?
I don't know. I mean, all I know is that these individuals are being stopped at the border. And I can tell you that if you look at Ukraine, when you look at their human rights violations and you look at this country and the way that they treat gay people, is that they rank really, really low on the totem pole for this. Ukraine ranks 39th out of 49 European countries when it comes to the treatment of LGBT. Gay marriage is illegal. Homosexuality is considered a sin. If you're gay, it's considered a sin. There are no anti-LGBT discrimination laws in this country. So I tweeted about this. I said, hey, woke Twitter, don't tell anyone about this, but this is what's happening in Ukraine. And I love actually, let me give you the word of the day. The word of the day is whataboutism. Okay.
And really quick, they're also stopping colored people at the border. People of color, like anybody who's not white, and not letting them.
Yes, and also as part of this, I don't think I realized that males between the ages of 18 and 60 are mandated to stay. So you see all of these families being separated at train stations where the mom is taking the kids, and the Western media is telling us that they are choosing to stay, right? That men are choosing to stay and fight the Russians. But this does not it doesn't make clear that actually they cannot leave.
So today's word of the day is whataboutism. It is the technique of practice of responding to an accusation or a difficult question by making a counter-accusation or raising a totally different issue than what we're talking about.
Well, then are we guilty of that by talking about Ethiopia?
No, because it's all part of the law. We're talking about refugees and America opening up its borders to refugees, we're talking about protecting democratic values and war zones, right?
Yes.
Then that's absolutely the case. So I tweeted about this, right? And earlier, and I said, this is a story you shouldn't talk about, right? And someone writes back, they could be the most bigoted people on earth, and I would not give an F. Nobody deserves to have their country be obliterated and their family murdered. Okay, whataboutism? What does that have to? Okay, what does that have to do with how they're treating gay people? I don't know, but please tell me. Here's another one. Lots of countries, unfortunately, have homophobic and transphobic people. Some are democratic, some are not. Ukraine can do more, but Russia is much, much worse. Why are you not attacking Russia? Whataboutism? Again, what does that have to do with Ukrainian people who are discriminated against gay and LGBT community?
Well, it does, because there's a reason that we care less about these conflicts in Muslim territories, right? Because Muslim is one of the least accepting faith in terms of the major religions. And so we can just say, well, their life already sucks. They can't be gay. Women can't drive. Like, all right, we don't really care so much. But Ukrainians, at least the women could drive, and, that kind of thing. Like, that seems relative.
Yeah, what about the Congo? Okay, what about the Congo? Hey, Chris Watts just killed his whole family, right? He's murdered his whole family. Yeah, what about Hitler? Yes, you're right. Compared to Hitler, Chris Watts, maybe not so bad, right?
Right.
So you're right. You got me. Let's just move on then. Like Ula Hula in the chat says, whataboutism is so lazy. It's exactly the truth. I mean, and that's that in the early days of this conflict when you'd say, yeah, but what about Putin?
Right.
What about him? I guess once you say that, what about Putin? Then you shuts down all conversation.
Well, Nick Shops in the chat says that Russia has the same laws related to homosexuality, right? And so we're saying, is it our business to prop up one government over another at this point? Then,
well, Poland as well.
Look.
Poland is very, very much in that camp, but of course they're an ally right now, so you wouldn't call out Poland.
Well, and look at Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but this is all about being lectured about Western values. Remember, I just put this in context. You have to pay more at the gas pump because of the values that we hold dear. I'm just asking you, what are the values we hold dear? We literally are propping up regimes who are run by Nazis.
Right.
We're propping up military that will not let gay people, gay or LGBT community members leave their country because of fearing for their lives. And you're being grabbed, rounded up, held at gunpoint, by the way, and checked to see if you're Adam's apple or other parts of your body, and then being sent back. By the way, I've watched a number of reports, read a number of independent journalist reports from members of the military who have gone into Ukraine to help fight on behalf of the Ukrainian army. These are people from the United States. These are people from other countries, France, other places who've gone in, and the reports are harrowing. They're saying, we're trying to get out because this is not the group we thought we were fighting for. We're trying to leave, and when we do, we are held at gunpoint and told that we cannot leave, and we are not Ukrainian. We came here to help, and now we're being held against our will by the Ukrainian army. Being held against your will. Like, if I go to help you and I say, hey, wait a minute, I don't like what you guys are doing. You're killing other citizens. Mm-hmm. I'm out of here. This is not what I thought. This is not the truth. This is not what story we've been painted in the mainstream media. I'm out of here. No, you're not. Get back. Help us fight. That's exactly what's happening. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, we have a membership program. For the price of a cup of coffee once a month, you can support independent journalism just by going to morninginvest.com/join.
You get access to exclusive videos, plus the ability to join and chat with us live. We really appreciate your subscription, and you are supporting independent journalism.